did my bed, I did my hair, and if you don't stop commenting, I'm gonna do your mom. What's up guys? This is gonna be like the main event of the college series, probably the most important video, and it is college advice for freshmen. First piece of advice I would give you is to get involved. So if you watch my vlogs, you know that my first year was an absolute blast. I had pretty much everything I needed in my dorm. Friends, a place to sleep, and then food was like a minute away in the dining hall. So I didn't really see the need to seek out other opportunities on campus and apply to programs and organizations and join clubs. And because of that, when my second year came around, I no longer had like all my friends in one place, a meal plan, communities I was part of. So because of that, I decided to get more involved my second year, and I started actually applying to organizations and programs on campus. And that was what kind of helped me rebuild that ecosystem that I just kind of naturally had my freshman year from being in a dorm. I got to meet a lot of new people. I had really cool experiences, and that's what helped me build up my resume to eventually become an RA, which was like the biggest growing experience in my entire life. So definitely get involved your freshman year, even if you don't need to, and have kind of a similar experience that I had where you have like everything you need in your dorm and you don't really need to go out and apply to things. Do it anyways, because eventually your situation is going to change and you want to have like different communities you're a part of and different activities you're doing, so that you're not just relying on maybe your dorm experience or like one club you're a part of. And in addition to that, you're also building up your resume so that you can apply to more prestigious campus positions and organizations. And that's really going to help you build up your resume, because when you apply to jobs, you can show that you were engaged on campus and that you actually took action and did your best to be a part of your campus community. My second piece of advice, which is kind of similar to the first one, is to find hobbies and things you like to do outside of school. And the reason for this is kind of similar. It's because you don't want to have everything you're involved in to be centered around campus, because eventually you're going to graduate. You're gonna go on spring break, you're gonna go on winter break. So you wanna have things to keep you occupied and other things going on in your life outside of school that are completely unrelated. So for me, for example, I like to make videos. So that was something I'd been doing both on campus and off campus. But I think a better example is poker, because I got into poker the summer before my freshman year. And at first it was just something that I kind of showed my friends and played for fun. And then eventually during my junior year, I actually started playing for real money, and it became kind of almost like a side hustle. I'm actually like making a decent amount of money off of poker, enough for it to be kind of like a part-time job, but it's something I really like doing. And from playing poker, I ended up creating a whole other YouTube channel that was dedicated to just poker, which I ended in December of 2018. But that gave me access to this whole other community of people who I could interact with. So instead of just graduating and then having my whole life just like taken away from me because it was all attached to campus, I actually had, you know, making videos, playing poker. And I was lucky because a lot of my really close friends actually live in the area. So it wasn't like everything just completely changed, but your situation might be different. And once people graduate, they start moving away, and things change all the time. So try to find like a hobby or join a class outside of campus, or even something as simple as like going to the gym, for example. Maybe you do that at school, but then it's something you carry on with you when you're back home. Basically, you just wanna have things to keep you occupied so that when one part of your life kind of like fades out or changes, you have all these other things going on for you. My next piece of advice is to talk to your counselor as early as possible. As soon as you get to school, find out how to schedule a meeting with your academic advisor. And then once you meet with your academic advisor, ask them to help you plan out a tentative 4-year schedule. And this is really gonna help you see what classes you're gonna need to graduate, what classes need prerequisites, and what classes are more flexible. And that way you're gonna have a much easier time when it comes to registering for classes every quarter or semester, depending on how your school works. And this is gonna really come in handy, because even though you're probably not gonna follow that 4-year hypothetical schedule exactly, since you have a good foundation to build off of, if your schedule changes, such as if you're working or if you're involved on campus, you can make your schedule a bit lighter in some areas. And then if you're more free some quarters or semesters, then you can make it heavier and add more classes. You're gonna save yourself from a lot of stress, because signing up for classes and scheduling things is gonna be a nightmare in college. I actually did not plan out my schedule ahead of time, and I was just kind of taking it quarter by quarter. And because of that, my very last year of school, I was supposed to only take 1 quarter of classes, but the problem was that 2 of the classes I needed to take weren't available until winter quarter. So I should have taken them earlier so that I'd be able to, you know, like mix around my schedule and finish in 3 years and a quarter. But because I messed up, I not only had to take 2 quarters of school my senior year, I also had to fit in 2 useless classes that did nothing to help me graduate, simply to fulfill the requirement that I be a full-time student my fall quarter, because I wasn't allowed to be a part-time student since I didn't have a job or I didn't have some weird circumstance. That cost me a lot of money and a lot of time, and I was commuting that year, so it cost me gas as well. So make sure you don't make that same mistake and meet with your counselor and try to figure out a tentative 4-year schedule ahead of time so that you kind of know what to expect. Number 4 is to learn about finance right now. Finance is something you don't really learn about at all in school unless you specifically take a college class on it, or maybe if your major involves learning about it, but you should definitely learn about it now, because eventually you're gonna have to know how to do taxes, how to save for retirement, how to build credit, all sorts of things. There's so many resources out there now, and I'm just starting to learn more about personal finance. One YouTube channel I'd really highly recommend is Stephan. He talks about like saving money, building credit, how to invest, all sorts of topics related to finance. This is a completely other topic, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I will give you a few things that you should absolutely do as soon as possible. And the first thing is to get a credit card if you don't already have one. I know some of you might not want to get a credit card because a lot of people think debt is inherently bad, but you absolutely have to start building credit at some point if you want to get a mortgage or you want to get a loan to buy like a car. Get a credit card and only use it to buy things that you were already going to buy in cash, and then use that cash to pay off the balance in full every billing period. Just make sure you don't get one that requires an annual fee. Get one that's completely free. That way you're not spending any extra money. You're only buying things that you were already gonna buy, and instead you're charging on the credit card and paying it off, and that way you're building credit early on. In addition to that, credit cards often have a lot of benefits. The one I have gives you a certain percentage of cash back depending on what you're buying. So not only are you building your credit, but you're also saving a little bit of money with each purchase. The second thing I would recommend you do as soon as possible is to open up a Roth IRA, which is a retirement account. Stephan has a really good video on this, so go ahead and watch his. I'll link it in the top right corner here. But basically, it's a retirement account that you put money in. As of 2019, you could put up to $6,000 in it every single year of your income, and that is after taxes. And the reason you should do this at a young age is because you're probably not making as much money now as you are going to be making later. So you want to put that money into the retirement account and pay taxes on it now while you're in a lower tax bracket. You don't have to pay taxes on the money you take out of the account. So if you're in a really high tax bracket at that point, you're not going to have to pay high taxes on that money. I'm just learning about this now. Go ahead and watch that video and watch other videos on Roth IRAs, but definitely do those 2 things. Get a credit card and sign up for a Roth IRA. Next piece of advice is to bring fewer things to college. I won't speak too much on this because I already made 2 videos titled What to Bring to College and What Not to Bring to College. So go ahead and watch those. But basically, most people make the mistake of bringing way too many things to college than bringing way too few. So I'd say lay out what you're gonna bring to college and then try to cut it in half, because most people, even someone organized like myself, I like to think I'm organized, bring way too much stuff their freshman year. If you're not sure whether or not you're gonna use something, just think of the worst case scenario if you don't have this item. And if it isn't that bad, then you don't need to bring it. Number 6 is don't take ADMs. I know everyone says this, and when I was a freshman, or when I was about to be a freshman and I was watching college advice videos, I would hear this over and over and over again. And I thought to myself, yeah, 8 a.m.s might be bad for some people, but some people watching might be morning people and maybe they want to take an 8 a.m. So this shouldn't be a general piece of advice. No, do not take 8 a.m.s. It is the worst decision you will ever make in your life. If a required class is at 8 a.m., either switch majors or drop out. It's not worth it. Do not take 8 a.m.s ever. Number 7, I think, is hang out on different floors and in the common room and in other common areas. This is applying obviously to people who choose to live in a dorm, which you definitely should do. And the reason for this is because it's very easy to just stay in your room and study there and then not really go anywhere else. I definitely did that my first year, and I didn't really put in effort to knock on people's doors or go to different floors that I normally wouldn't have hung out in. And because of that, I think I missed out on a lot of friendships with really cool people who I definitely clicked with, but I just didn't really put in the effort to build those relationships. So definitely try to study in the common room sometimes, maybe make a few friends on one floor so that you can hang out there more, study on different floors as well. Hang out in different areas and don't just stick to where you're most comfortable with. This is one of the few times where you're gonna be around a bunch of people around the same age and kind of in the same situation that you are. So you want to make the most of it because it gets a lot harder to make friends as college goes on, and especially once you graduate. So you definitely want to build those relationships early on. Number 8 is kind of similar, and it is to make friends in class. Make friends everywhere, but especially do so in class. I didn't really put in any effort to do this as well, but luckily I just happened to meet a lot of people who were in the same major as I was, so that was really helpful. And the reason you should do this is because you're gonna forget certain deadlines for homework assignments. You might think the final is on one day when it's actually not. The friends you make in your class and who are in your same major, they will save you so many times. There have been so many situations where I just completely misunderstood a homework assignment and did it wrong. And then one of my friends told me that I was supposed to do it some other way, and then it saved me. So most people are pretty open if you just talk to them, especially freshman year. If you're near someone, just say hi, and then ask people if you want to form like a study group. A lot of classes actually have specific Facebook groups where you can talk to other people in the class and then kind of help each other out. People will make like study guides and study questions, and it can be really, really helpful. So try to find a Facebook group for your class, and if there isn't one, make one and then tell people about it. And I think a more general piece of advice is to try to make friends who are in your major, because they're gonna have more or less the same classes as you, and that's gonna be really helpful. And if you meet just a few people freshman year and you remain friends with them, you're gonna have them as resources, and you can help them out, they can help you out. Everyone wins. Number 9 is to find an exercise buddy. And if you don't have experience with lifting or cardio or doing whatever you want to do, find someone who already kind of has that knowledge and is experienced. The main benefit of finding a gym buddy or an exercise buddy is that you're going to keep each other accountable so that you don't just get lazy and skip workouts, because you're going to be really busy in college. So the last thing you want to do is get up and then go to the gym. If you have someone there, it's going to be a lot easier to get yourself to do it. And if you didn't do sports in high school and don't really have experience in the gym, find someone who knows what they're doing and they can help you learn the basics. And that way, when you're out of college and you get your own gym membership, which you should do, you're gonna have that kind of foundation already, and you can start going there yourself and not feel intimidated to go to the gym with all these people who know what they're doing. And the last thing, and I'm gonna try to make it fast because my battery's running out, is to be flexible and open to change, and learn to go with the flow. I know this sounds like super cheesy advice, but college is gonna be one of the most like turbulent, up and down, everything changing times of your life. Your views and opinions on things are gonna change. Your friends will definitely change. A lot of people who were quiet in high school all of a sudden become social butterflies in college, and a lot of the people who were like prom king, like top of their school, they end up just being kind of like everyone else in college, because you're kind of on the same level with everyone once you get there, since college is so much more selective. Things are gonna be changing all the time, and you're just gonna have to learn to deal with it. Just be ready for everything to change, and don't try to resist what's going on. So that's all the advice I had for this video. If you like this video, subscribe. I have more college series videos coming, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.